Warning. The following episode contains extreme spoilers for the films Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. It also includes general spoilers about the Halloween movie series as a whole, as well as moderate spoilers for other franchises, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Scream. It's also long enough as it is without the usual nonsense, so let's just get going. Welcome to Marianne's Macabre Review.
Hello and welcome out to Marianne's Macabre Review. We have Dave's Halloween Movie Marathon, number 22. We've got Keith with us. We've got Angela with us. We have Dave, of course. We've got Kehn and myself. We had a bunch of other people earlier, but they've all pooped out and gone home because we are the ones that like to stay here the longest. No, we actually came late. Haha.
We are the ones that came the latest.
No, actually,
Kehn just got here.
We is inclusive, the people who are left at the marathon.
Oh, I think Dave's been here the whole time.
exasperated.
Anywho, instead of me doing the exasperated sigh, it's Keith. Anywho, well, we are here to talk about Halloween 4. It's the one with the little girl in it that's the niece to Michael Myers. So, Dave, you want to give us a synopsis?
Sure. So this takes place 10 years after the original events of Halloween's 1 and 2. And we follow Jamie Lloyd, who is the daughter of the Laurie Strode character. And Michael Myers has been presumably in a coma or something this entire time. But now he's awake 10 years later to get revenge on his niece, Jamie Lloyd, and anyone else who stands in his path.
And I think we discussed this during the movie. Why? Why does he just want to... Do we know why he wants to kill his entire family? We don't, which is frustrating. If you have any ideas out there, folks, if you have any suggestions, maybe you wrote your thesis on it, and we want to know what you think, what your theory is on why Michael Myers wants to kill all of the other family members.
And I think they try to get into that a little later in Halloween 6. But, you know, we don't know that at this point in the movie series. So right now we don't know why he's trying to kill his family. Yeah.
So, quick thoughts on the movie, and then we'll get further into it. Ken, you just arrived. Do you remember this one, the one with the little girl?
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right, Dave. Where would you rank this in all of the movies?
Somewhere, I would say slightly above the middle of the pack.
Okay, so 6. There's 11 total, right?
Yeah, so I'd say like maybe I'd rank it 4th or 5th. Mm-hmm. So more above the middle line in the pack.
Mm-hmm. And
how many are there? 11?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That facial expression was the best. Angela.
What do you mean, like I rank it like out?
Oh, well, you don't have to rank it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What were your general thoughts of this?
I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever actually... I may have seen bits and pieces of this, but I don't remember ever seeing the entire thing.
Same.
But, I mean, I liked it. It kept my attention the whole time.
Yep.
So.
Yes, that's our Angela ranking. I wasn't bored.
Yeah.
Period. This one was one where I seem to think it's very forgettable because I've watched this one a few times, And every time I'm like, I don't think I've seen this one. Dave, can we watch this one? And here we are. I'm like halfway through it. I'm like, I've seen this one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the second one I haven't seen because...
I mean 5?
5. The next one in this series. The second one in this little series.
Yeah.
5. Which we'll watch next. Hopefully.
He can make it.
So does it go all the way to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11?
No.
But they just all jump around.
They jump around. There's
Okay.
remakes and different starting points, and you can't, they don't go together.
Okay.
Like all of them don't go together.
Okay.
They just kind of do what they want,
Okay.
which is kind of I guess it's a good thing in a way. You can get a restart and get new people to discover the character and do different things. It's a good thing about, I guess, horror movies. You can kind of do that.
What was it that was in when we went and watched the 2018 Halloween? Didn't we have someone that like audibly gasped in the theater with Michael Myers? Like, we're like, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I know you've seen this.
Yeah.
This is a surprise to you?
Yeah. I mean, some people haven't, so,
So that was really interesting.
Would you say that there are any Halloween movies that you find so abjectly bad and
Halloween
objectionable that you don't officially acknowledge it to be part of the Halloween canon?
I mean, the Halloween 3 is really one that is really the only one that doesn't have anything to do with any of the other ones because there's no Michael Myers in it. They tried to do an entirely different thing, and people really disliked that, so they went back to Michael Myers. So that's really the only one you can say, this wouldn't belong with the series,
The Silver Shamrocks jingle.
I think it's worth mentioning. I think it's worth mentioning just for the record that there are people I would call it probably a cult following.
Yeah.
that actually think it's
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if that is what you like and you don't like the other ones, then yes, it would make sense because they're dissimilar, but,
People that are the fans of Michael Myers generally don't like it. Some people just don't look at it as a Halloween movie. They just look at it as its own thing and can watch it that way and disassociate it with the rest of them and think as a standalone movie it's fine. People, there are people that like it. So
yes. So speaking of that, we're going to have an upcoming episode of Marianne's Macabre Review where we are going to do just Season of the Witch, and we want to have people that are against it, like Dave and myself, and
the suspense. Just get that out of the way.
Yeah, and then people that love it, like Mike and Andy. And I'm not saying Andy loves it. He just said he liked it, right? And he said
he finally watched it all the way through because normally we just play Balderdash during that, and he watched it all the way through and said he liked it.
When did he do that?
A few days ago, he said.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was it that recent?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll be doing that soon. We'll get on that very soon because we want to get that out this month or at least as close to October as we feasibly can with only having a few weeks left. So, Keith, general thoughts on this show we just watched?
Very similar to what you were saying. I wouldn't say that it was forgettable necessarily. It's just that I don't really... I mean, throughout the years of having done this, we see these things in bits and pieces sometimes. You don't always get to have a smaller group where they're not talking while the movie's going on, so there's that. But I do remember, as things were starting to happen in this one, I remember them having seen them before. And I remember there were a couple of questions on the quiz we get annually that I got correct because I do remember something like that happening before, so yeah. Although I'd forgotten the twist ending until just as it was about to happen. And I saw the camera view of the mask. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
I knew that. I remembered that happening. And I always think that it's in a different movie that's happening in. But, so let's get into what we liked, what we didn't like. I'll start out. What I didn't like was we just jumped directly into Loomis being alive and there not being any explanation. to why he's alive or anything. I mean, just like, hey, he's alive, so's Michael Myers, and he's been in a coma, but hey, whatever.
So to recap a bit, this is supposed to be following the events of Halloween 2, right?
Correct.
Yes.
I don't quite remember how that ended up.
So they're in the hospital, and Dr. Loomis and Laurie and Michael Myers are all in a room, and Laurie gets out, and
the oxygen is
released. And Dr. Loomis has turned on the oxygen and a couple other things,
Right.
other gas, and
Chekhov's lighter.
Yep. Hits the lighter and the room explodes, and it's a giant explosion, so presumably no one would live through that. I mean, Michael Myers clearly would. You know, he kind of walks out on fire, but then falls over, and that's the end. But Loomis, being a normal man, you would have think have been blown to bits. But you know, he's just got some. They show some burns on his one side of his face, and
I guess
on his
that's
hand a little bit.
I guess that's the explanation they're giving you. He kind of got burnt. He was there at the
Slight
fire.
burning.
Yeah. However, he never walked out of the flames, unlike Michael Myers did.
Yeah, so...
I am making a concerted effort to say Michael Myers instead of Mike Myers, because Keith can't stand that. Because we are not familiar with this guy. And he is not the Canadian comedian.
Yes.
Both of those things.
So, like, basically one played an axe murderer and one actually is an axe murderer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Well, he was in a movie called Axe Murder. You know, he wasn't the axe murderer in the movie.
That's a joke, Keith.
Anywho, so, but I did like the new presence of Rachel. I thought she was really cool. She stood up for herself when she needed to and didn't cower too much. I like they all do some dumb things, but then we wouldn't have a horror movie if they did the smart thing all the time. So, Dave, positives, negatives?
My biggest negative with Halloween 4 is the look of Michael Myers. I can't stand the way he looks, and it drives me crazy. The mask is terrible, and it looks like...
But they did have some good masks.
Yeah,
that's the weird part.
There's one point in the movie where Loomis and Sheriff Meeker and Jamie and Rachel are all going into a police car to go away, and then you see one Michael Myers pop off to the side, and then all of a sudden you see another Michael Myers pop out in front of them, and then another Michael Myers off to the other side, and they're like, hold on, what the fuck is going on here? And then it turns out that it's just some local teenagers basically playing a prank on everybody, and they actually had a mask in there that looked good.
They had 3 of the bad ones and 1 of the good ones.
So
I'm like, wait a minute.
Why didn't you use the good mask? But yeah, the mask looks terrible. It's just a kind of a washed out bright white color. It looks just different enough that it looks bad for me. And then the other
eye
thing
holes
is
are really big.
the eye holes are big, and at times you can tell like the actor under the overalls is wearing like a bodysuit or shoulder pads or something to make
his chest bigger and his
just
shoulders
look bigger. But it looks so unnatural, and a lot of times when he's walking around, he just looks like an old man kind of walking around. So that drives me batshit crazy every time I watch it.
I noticed he looked very tall and skinny and not tall and bulky like he's supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. Like you look at Tyler Mane in the Rob Zombie ones, he's looks like a big guy, and it looks good, whereas this guy does not look like a big guy who they're trying to make look like a big guy. It does not work for me at all. Yeah. So that drives me crazy. I do like the they have a little more character development with some of the characters. Like you like and root for some of the characters, like Jamie and Rachel, like you said before, and they have kind of a little love triangle thing going on. So
dumb love triangle that they do nothing with.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, we're just going to kill everybody now? Just write that out. We don't need that.
Yeah. So they, they develop a couple of characters very well, which I did like. You don't always get that in these movies.
Right.
You just want to see some of them offed really, really quickly. Is there anything else that... Oh, I don't like the scene towards the end when they're all on the pickup truck leaving town, and Michael Myers just is all of a sudden just on the back of the truck, and they've been driving for miles. Like, where did he, how did he get on the truck?
Have you been underneath it the whole time? How did you get out of the school and underneath their truck without
them seeing it?
Or feeling the drag on it. I mean, if you have like a 6'8" person underneath your car, you're going to notice that it's got a little bit more drag.
With that, there's also 3 big guys in the back of the truck, so you may not notice that, but it seems very implausible that happens. So I don't like that either. But everything else, I'm pretty fine with. I thought, overall, I think it's a pretty good movie in the series.
Though if we were doing plausible, we wouldn't be.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Angela, what did you think?
I have nothing bad to say about it. I'm just like,
it wasn't boring.
Yeah.
Did you like any of the characters?
I mean, I did. I liked how Carrie was always protecting Jamie and stuff. I just feel like that one time her boyfriend's like, "Oh, just let her go. Do you think she'll make it through this?" And she's
She's like,
yeah,
he said,
she went back for her.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, she's probably already dead, so let's get out of here."
Yeah. So I liked how she kind of always was protecting her and stuff and didn't listen to him in that, I guess, in that suggestion, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she always went back for her. She never left her. She always went back. She was missing. She still went and found her, It's like, she didn't just let her go and just, oh, well, yeah.
She was always showing concern for her stepsister.
Yeah.
Keith?
Well, getting back to the love triangle, I think that it was both a positive and a negative as far as the poor way in which it was executed. On the positive side of that, I was kind of glad that they didn't make too big a deal out of it. I mean, it's just, that wasn't really necessarily a driving motivation for the character. It was more like an
hey, your boyfriend's an asshole.
Yeah, an example of how she was sort of like, I'm done, and she didn't dwell on it. Yeah, so that was good in that sense, and it was just, I guess, something else to kind of move her away from those people to some extent. Just plot device in that way.
And there's ever something very silly, like she had to cancel their date to babysit Jamie,
and he got mad.
He got really upset about this. Like, oh, when were you going to tell me?
Yeah,
then,
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. So he acted like it was the end of the world.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing about, well, boys want more than just going out on dates. They want sex or something like that. And if you shut up, Keith. And if you don't give him what he wants, this guy's not going to be the first boyfriend that goes someplace else. And I was like, that is the worst.
Not going to be the last.
Worst to be telling people. I don't care. You shouldn't be telling people that. That's just, they shouldn't even be putting that message out there.
Yeah.
As like oh yeah, I need to think about that. No.
Well, that is interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. It's hard to say when this was released, how that would have been received by
I know
a young woman watching that. Or would she have been affected by that? Would she have taken that to heart?
Right.
Who knows? Was it supposed to be like a hidden message of, since this is a bad person saying this, so we shouldn't believe that? Or is that the excuse they were telling themselves?
Well, it's the thing that virginity makes you live longer in horror movies. And so it's all part of that whole final girl thing that I can't stand, that this whole, it's being a virgin that makes you good and makes you can have I don't care how many dicks you hop on. you can still be a good person and sleep with a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's just not where I thought the sentence was going. I thought you were about to make this more of an after-school special or some kind of just...
It doesn't matter how many dicks you hop on, you can still be a good person. Remember that. Remember that, ladies.
Right. I mean, it does... Just because you've slept with a man or a woman doesn't make you a bad person. Society tells women that they are not worthy of love if they've slept with a lot of people. They are not good people if they sleep with a lot of people. And that is incorrect. You are worthy of love, and you are worthy of, and you are just as good as any other person. So, gosh darn it. That just fires me up. And so the final girl trope always, it's the girl that's pure, and she's usually white, and she's usually, what is deified by movie cultures.
Is that something that is that a trope that they've kept hewn to? Because, obviously these movies were made during the 80s. So, I mean, in recent Halloween movies, I don't know how many of those that there have been. Have they, do they have a different sensibility about that?
Well, Halloween is its own animal now, I think, because now it's doing... Now they're doing... and Jamie Lee Curtis is back with her daughter now. And was her daughter blonde? And yeah, I think she was. Yeah, never mind. So, yeah, maybe they have. Maybe they're still sticking with it. I thought maybe they had broken away from it. Let's see where the second Halloween reboot takes us, and then we'll see what's going on from there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Keith.
Well, just maybe think of a couple of things. Okay, 2 points. One, to go back a bit for what you were saying about the hopping on as many dicks, etc. I think the thing that complicates that point is the way they were presenting it in this case, which was it wasn't just that she was probably promiscuous; that she was somehow getting sex at the expense of her friend,
I don't think they were friends.
No.
I don't think they were friends. They didn't even know each other, and they just.
I think they knew of each other, but they definitely, I don't think were ever friends.
No.
But the implication for those kinds of messages is always it's not just that they're promiscuous. It's this to find that many men, you must be taking them from somewhere else, or that idea.
Okay.
In addition, I'm saying. But anyway, what was the other thing? Oh, right. The thing about horror movies, most of them anyway, as far as breaking away from the archetype of the virginal white final girl, is that it almost seems like they relish in the idea of being able to fall back on that and say, oh, we're sticking to this classic model of things, and so we don't have to change. We don't want to, and I think like with most other genres, especially like science fiction, superheroes, so forth, you get the thing where anybody starts to try to veer away from that, they're doing it to pander then.
Yeah.
And to be fair, some people have a hard time, it seems like, writing things that don't seem too blatantly heavy-handed or just like overcorrecting, which is almost like trolling the neckbeards or whatever, for lack of a better word. But you get what I'm saying. It's just, I'm not saying that I have like an answer one way or the other. I'm just making an observation that's hard to
Well, I think
get to where you
the question that raises is, what is it about the Halloween franchise that keeps people coming back? What makes it an enduring cornerstone of the horror genre? Alongside, because when you think about horror, it's Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Mike Myers.
I think the key to that is Michael Myers. He is a supernatural force to be reckoned with. Nothing can seem to kill him, and he keeps coming back. And he is a silent killer, just like Jason, but where Freddy has turned more fourth wallish, where he looks at the camera and jokes with the audience, whereas Voorhees and Michael Myers have pretty much stayed stoic and not changed much.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's even more to the point of where Jason Voorhees has had the thing where he did that Jason 10 or Jason X, where he was in space and he was campy as shit in that, where they just leaned in on all the tropes and just, the last licks line where, oh, that'll do it, though you got to do a lot harder than that to kill me. Stab again. Yep, that'll do it, and then the tough black guy that has the final line then is surfing Jason's body into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculously over the top. Whereas Michael Myers, while he's had moments, Busta Rhymes, karate.
Jason go to space too.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about, yeah.
Karate chopping him.
As well.
No. God help us if Michael Myers ever goes to space. Please never let that happen.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Leprechaun went to space.
Yes, Leprechaun went to space. I mean, I would call him kind of the next level down of monster movies, of the big monster movies. We've got your classic horror, you've got your big hit horrors, and then we've got your next level, which is Leprechaun. But the big hit is definitely Jason and Michael Myers and Freddy. What do you have anything to add to that? Why you think Michael Myers has stood the test of time?
I think maybe a lot of it has to do with he was really the original one, the one that kind of kickstarted the whole slasher genre, or at least brought it into popular culture. So I think maybe that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a pretty good job of with their reboots. Like the first Rob Zombie movie I thought was pretty good. The second one was there's some moments in it that were good. And the new one was really good, and it seems like the audiences have even new audiences have maybe accepted it a little better. And we haven't seen a Friday the 13th movie in 10 years. Losing Robert Englund is huge for the Nightmare on Elm Street.
While I really like the new guy, I think the changes that they made tweaked just enough to be like, they're like, let's go all in on him being a pedophile. Yeah, let's let's hammer that home. It's like, we didn't really need to go there.
Yeah, and like we said before, he's a talking killer, and over the course
Jackie
of his
Earle
movies,
Haley.
and people who are fans of Robert Englund's Freddy really, I don't think too many of them like the new one. And he had such charisma,
oh my gosh, yes,
hilarity and personality. That's really hard to replace. Whereas like Jason and Michael Myers, they're masked guys who don't talk, so you can get somebody. I mean, you need somebody who can
have the presence,
have personality through their, the way they walk or their movements and stuff like that. But you don't need somebody to talk.
Yeah, I
think that has a lot to do with also why he's kind of lived on.
I like the new one, the new Freddy, because of Jackie Earle Haley. He was good at Rorschach. And that's where I had originally seen him in, besides Bad News Bears and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah,
he was the little redheaded kid. And
so
I really like his Rorschach, so I was like, I think he'd be a good Freddy. And they kind of took him back to the menacing Freddy.
Yeah.
But, after watching it, I was like, I kind of miss the campy Freddy. I liked that. I mean, that's where I first began to really like, where you root for the bad guy. I thought that was where I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. When they did the new Freddy, where it's like all in on being an awful person, you're like, I can't root for this guy because they have just kind of laid it out about how bad he was.
Right.
In the original, they kind of left it up to the viewer, like, and they slowly gave stuff out over the movies. Like, oh my gosh, look how such a horrible background he had. His mother was raped by, or his nun of a mother was raped by insane people.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, well, he's already had it bad from the start.
Right.
So you can kind of, not just feel sorry, but then you're like, well, he was burned by the neighborhood and not because he didn't have an actual trial. They were just like, yeah, we think he did it. So they...
Yeah.
But in the new one, they're like, yeah, he did it, and here are pictures, and let me show you all the things, and it's just like, So, Keith, circling back, is there a reason? Do you have any thoughts on why Michael Myers is a icon that has withstood the test of time?
I think that Dave laid it out pretty well, actually. The way that you have a Jason or a Michael Myers, then they can be replaced to some extent, or it wouldn't. I mean, obviously, you were seeing some problems. You, Dave, I mean, seeing some problems in this one, Halloween 4, because of the way that it didn't seem like it was the right kind of guy to do it. But at the same time, if you're just in it to kind of see the franchise continue, you're probably going to overlook one or two to kind of get the story going or keep the story moving. Or
because I think Halloween 4 drew really well at the box office because people were excited to see Michael Myers again, and because of the catastrophe of Part 3, not having Michael Myers in it. He's back now. People wanted to see Michael Myers, and then Part 5, they just kind of rushed into, off the success of Part 4 at the box office, they rushed in and threw one out the next year. And, from what I've heard and read about that one is, they were kind of writing it on the fly as they were, filming. They're changing stuff and rewriting stuff, and it was just kind of
that's never good.
A disaster. But, people really seem to, I don't know, critics, but I think fans, this is one of the ones that they really enjoy, and I think it's in large part due to Danielle Harris as Jamie Lloyd, who I thought did a really, really good job portraying fear and screaming and crying and
genuine
emotion.
Like
I think for her age, I think she was 11 or something at the time. Really did a good job.
Wasn't she supposed to be at the Halloween movie marathon? She never called back.
I'm still waiting on a reply. No, just kidding, Danielle, if you're out there.
Yeah.
But that's, and I mean, also the other thing that and you touched on it. So I think what makes Michael Myers so enduring is and I don't know if it's a deliberate choice, but the fact that he's expressionless, he's silent, and that sort of is a blank canvas for the viewers to project all of their fears and the things that horrify them onto the blank canvas that is Michael Myers.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say about that is also just from a cynical marketing standpoint, you have those kinds of icons that just you have a mask you can mass market and put on, and you have the mask, you have the knife. These are things people can tangible things they can attach. The Freddy hat and the sweater and the thing. What I'm saying. Hockey mask. Let's take Scream for example. You just having the gown and the ghost face. It's it's there. It's got some things, but it's probably not as, I don't know.
It's not as iconic.
Yeah.
They revealed who the killer was at the end of each thing, and that's the issue.
That's a very good point. These other people were just themselves.
They were just normal people who.
They weren't unstoppable either, whereas Michael Myers is.
Well, what I meant to say is that the Michael Myers and Jason were just, they weren't aliases. They were these people, and that I guess out of the mystique or the unstoppableness of it.
So let's get to our ratings for this one. Entertainment value and gore are the two that we're going for on this one, 1 to 10. And while for season 3, we're changing it a little bit. We don't want to know how you would think about the gore factor. Is if you were coming into it as a blank slate, how would you rate this gore to it? Because we found out that the gore hounds of the group would be 0, 0, 0 every time, whereas everything is. I mean, some of the things we watch are actually pretty gory,
right?
So, or actually pretty spooky or whatever. Let's look at it without our gorehound goggles, and let's try and get a rating for what we would give a general audience. Like if we had Jenny in here and we're like, we're trying to have Jenny watch this.
Oh boy.
What would we?
Well, I mean, Jenny's.
Jenny's an extreme case.
Yeah, because
just like Amanda.
It's not going to take a lot to get her.
Yeah.
Well, I would. Right. My thought on that would be to think of it more like you were on like a ratings commission, and you actually had to quantify the things as some sort of objective scale, as opposed to
maybe like from like 10 to 1 the number of seconds till Jenny leaves the room.
So I guess I'll start since I'm the one that started with those new ratings. Entertainment value. Since I feel like this is forgettable, I'm going to give it a little bit lower on the entertainment value because I've watched it a bunch of times, and every time I forget that I've watched it. I would say, for me, entertainment value is still just basic entertainment value for what we thought of it. I'd give it a 4 or 5. Is middle of the road. It's not the worst. Definitely not the worst Michael Myers movie, but it's definitely not the best. With the ranking, I would put it solid in the middle too, just like Dave would. After seeing all of the movies, let's see. For gore, we did have a thumb through or a finger through someone's forehead. Mm-hmm. We had a bunch of other, people getting their throats crushed. A bunch of things. So there is gore in it, and there is children in danger, which often triggers moms and stuff. Screaming children that are in danger. So scare factor for a blank slate. For if I was a rating commission, I'd give this middle of the road. Don't take your kids to see it, and be wary if you are squeamish. So I'd say 5 or 6. Dave, how about you? You're our next.
Entertainment value, I give it probably 6.5. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty entertained by this movie. Anytime I watch it, it's one of those. If I catch on TV, I'm gonna stick with it a while because I like the characters, and I always, I'm always gonna stop to watch a Halloween movie. So 6.5, yeah, it's kind of right in the middle for me of the pack, maybe slightly above the middle. Mm-hmm. Gore factor, like you said, thumb through the head, guy gets his neck, his throat ripped.
That. His neck was torn
at the end, yeah.
That would pump it up, yeah. That's full on gore.
So I'd say I'd say middle of the road also for gore, like a 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't remember there being a ton of blood.
Yeah, it was not graphic blood.
It's not graphic. A lot of it's like
there you go.
You hear cracking bones when he's choking him, and a neck broke, that type of deal. So there's not a ton of blood in this one. So so I'll say a 4.5. Between a 4 and 5 there.
Angela.
Entertainment value, I'd probably give it a 7. I was interested. I wasn't bored throughout the whole thing. Another thing, I feel like I've seen it, but maybe I haven't. I don't know. As far as gore, I'd probably give it like a 5 or 6.
Okay.
Because again, I don't think it was that bloody. But the eye through the forehead, the thumb through the forehead was the only thing that really kind of got me.
Yeah. Keith?
Yep, that one made me go, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say the ratings are pretty accurate as far as everything goes. I mean, you did make me think of a couple of things. Well, first of all, I want to say that I wouldn't say that the forgetting the movie. I don't really think it's the movie's fault. I think it's the venue again. We watch them out of order at various times, and it's not like every time we sit there and think, I'm watching Halloween 4. I'm watching Halloween 4. I'm watching. It's you kind of forget which one's which. Okay. What else? Yeah, the other trouble with the rating for what you think.
We don't need to get into that right now.
I'm just saying the scale should also kind of encompass, what was gory for, let's say, the 80s, what was gory for the 90s, what would kids be used to? I don't know. I'm overthinking it right now, though. So. Again, I wouldn't really change any of the ratings. I would say it's probably middle of the road.
What would your rating for entertainment value be, though? That's your how entertained were you by this movie?
I'm probably around a 6 or a 7 as well. There's still places where I laugh when they come up. I mean, things were probably intentionally funny, or things that are sort of like Loomis funny.
Loomis is always
over the top.
Yeah, where it's hard to tell.
Always anytime he delivers any kind of line where he's like yelling at somebody,
every time he yells.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
So I love things like that, and I think part of what makes that even funnier is you don't know if they mean it to be funny to you, or if this is just him kind of,
acting.
Yes,
Yeah, and I think maybe he has a lot to do with the series as well. I mean, could you picture anybody else playing Dr. Loomis than Donald Pleasance? I mean, you see what Malcolm McDowell did in the Rob Zombie ones, and he did really well. But Donald Pleasance just had that kind of over the top.
He was way over the top with everything.
Yeah, which was great.
Every time he runs into the frame, grabs the little girl, and like, "Don't be frightened!" Like shouting at her, and she's like, It's like,
I don't know why, but I felt like he was going to use her to like lure Michael Myers.
Oh,
that's always get that.
That's what the other guy does in Rob Zombie, right?
Yeah.
In the Rob Zombie films, yeah. Not cool. Not cool.
And one of the other things I kind of did like about this movie is when the guys at the bar find out that, Sheriff Meeker had shut down the town. They're like, we got to find out what's going on here. So they all load into their trucks, get their shotguns out.
Accidentally murder a guy.
And that's kind of scary if you think about it. Like,
it's that mob mentality.
You get some guys that don't know what's going on and are just reacting upon what they hear,
what they think,
and the sheriff said the best. He's like, I got a town full of beer bellies out here just shooting people, and then it's kind of scary if you think about it. Like, there's people running around.
That's almost scarier than a mass murderer, because the mass murderer, has someone that they're going for.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys could shoot anybody, and they'd be like, well, just like that guy, like the guy that they shot. They're like, hey, you shot that guy, and it's like, hey, no, we were all actually shooting at this guy.
He was like, you said you saw Myers. That's Ted Hollister, and and he's like, oh, well.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Now, why he was just like lurking around in the bushes is another story.
So that's what we have for Halloween 4. We will
the return of Michael Myers.
The return of Michael Myers. We will deliberate in a bit and see if we're continuing on to 5, which we probably should, but we'll figure it out. Either we'll be back or we won't be back, and this will end with me with La Llorona.
If you don't believe that, because we were all butchered by Michael Myers.
Oh.
Let's not have that happen. This is also not Psycho.
Oh.
Bye, everybody. We'll be back. Alrighty, welcome back. This is Marianne's Macabre Review, and we are here with Kehn,
Hello?
Dave, Angela, Keith, and myself. We just watched Halloween 5, which, if you remember from a few seconds ago, in your time, it was Halloween 4 we had just finished, and we were debating on watching 5. We watched 5, and holy smokies, I don't think I had seen all of it before. I definitely hadn't seen the ending, and I am pissed off. So, let's get into this real quick. It is late here, and both Keith and I have had long days, and so have Dave and Angela and Kehn, because we've all been either at weddings or doing the marathon all day. Although Dave is up for the rest of the night, because he always watches all the other movies. Even if all of us poop out, he will stay up and watch all of them. Which,
as far as we know.
No, he says he tells me he does. So
we're not here to see. So.
I'm gonna trust him, Keith. Just like with my Extra Life Gaming Marathon, I actually game for 24 hours. I don't poop out when people leave.
Woo!
I continue doing it. So
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, can't stop, won't stop. Just like Dave, just like me, and just like Keith with our Extra Life Gaming Marathon. But anywho, let's dig into this. General thoughts. Me, I'm pissed. That ending was not a goddamn ending. Seriously. seriously, what the heck? I feel like I heard a little bit from the last thing that there was something going on with the script. I guess I'm going to let Dave talk first because he can fill us in on these why it had such idiosyncrasies. I think he'll clear it up for us a little bit with the script problems that he was briefly talking about in 4.
So, from what I've heard through interviews and reading and stuff, based on the success of Halloween 4, they wanted to get right into doing a Halloween 5, because Halloween 4 came out in 88 and Halloween 5 came out the next year in 89, and no script had been written previous or anything like that. They just kind of said, this did well, we're going to move on. So from all accounts, I've heard that during filming, they were still writing the script and changing things around, and the actors were like, I don't remember reading this, who's this man in black that gets introduced? They didn't have any idea who he was, or characters getting cut out and stuff like that. So it was just kind of it sounded like they were just winging it as the production was going. And
I feel like you can tell. I mean, from the way Jamie acted, is she acting like she's Michael Myers or is she acting as the victim? Mm-hmm. It changed as it went through the movie. I mean, it went from shot to shot. It was different. First, she's miming everything that Michael Myers is doing. Now she's being the guy that's being killed. It's like, what's happening? So.
Okay, so since it's going to be quite a while before I even come back into this conversation, I figured I'd hop in here real quick and just clarify that I don't know, wasn't me saying, well, yeah, I have no idea either, but that I wasn't sure that I agreed with what she was saying just then. I wouldn't necessarily say that the way that Danielle Harris was portraying this state of possession was inconsistent, per se. Someone who was a medium, who's channeling an event, that involves more than one person might, at some point be either the assailant or the person being attacked, However, I would say that the way that she starts off being mostly mute and using sign language, and then later on just ended up sort of playing everything normal, might have been one of the key indicators that something was just really off with the direction and the overall storyline. Like maybe they started off with the idea that they're going to do a direct continuation of the ending from Halloween 4, when it seemed like she was becoming Michael Myers somehow, but then just completely changed their mind about it and went a different way. But anyway, back to them.
Do you want to give us a synopsis? I mean, it just takes place 1 year later.
Right, it's a year later. Jamie is now in like a children's facility or something like that after having stabbed her mother with scissors at the end of part 4. And Michael Myers, at the end of Halloween 4 gets shot and he falls down into a well. He escapes through an opening at the bottom of the well into a river, gets up on land next to some guy's little shack and collapses, and the guy presumably takes care of him for a year because he wakes up a year later on Halloween Eve. And then he's trying to find Jamie again and trying to kill her. And for some reason, she has a telepathic connection with him now.
Yep. We didn't even see,
And she can't talk.
Oh, for part of the movie.
Right, yeah. The first half of the movie, for some inexplicable reason, she can't talk.
And he had the sign of the thorn on his wrist, Michael did. Mm-hmm. I kept expecting to see some mark of like that on Jamie, but we didn't.
Just on the man in black.
And the man in black had one, who didn't say anything the entire time, who we didn't see his face, nothing happened. And I read in the trivia, in Britain, they cut out all those scenes and redid them with an unnamed British actor and put him back in. Huh. But with a different actor who they don't know. No one knows why. So this is the frustrating part about this movie is it was very scattered, and it was the ending was not an ending. Where did Michael Myers go? Where did who the fuck was the Man in Black? And is Jamie safe? She has no one now. She can't even probably go back to the sanatorium. Sanitarium? Wherever she is.
I think they were, by the end, I think they were just like, whatever, this is a shit show. We're just going to leave it for the next people to figure out and
how many years
make whatever
was
they
it
can of it.
till the next movie?
The next one came out in 95.
So from 89.
So it was 6 years later, 89 to 95.
And that was the reboot or not the reboot?
No. It's a continuation of part 4 and 5.
Well, I look forward to that one next year, actually, if I remember all this.
So it's got Danielle Harris in it?
No, but Jamie Lloyd is in it. They have a different actress. And Danielle Harris wanted to be in the movie. She, they said because she said she heard from her agent, like, she saw a casting call for playing Jamie Lloyd, so they never even really contacted her about it. She said, hey, I want to be in this movie, and she was not 18 at the time. She was only 17, and they have like certain restrictions on actresses working, certain amount of hours.
Yeah.
So she went and got emancipated to basically declare that she's an adult and she can work these many hours. And they went back and forth, and I don't want to really spoil anything, but it ended up coming down to money. She said, if this is going to happen, I want this much money. And it wasn't very much. She basically wanted to be reimbursed for, all the money she had to pay for lawyer fees, for getting emancipated and all this stuff. And then just, a small, it wasn't very much. It was a few $1,000s.
And they
it
said
wasn't a
no?
lot. And they said no. They basically said, your character's not that important right now. We're just going to get somebody else to do it.
That's ridiculous.
So
right.
So she really wanted to be in the movie, but they couldn't negotiate things to...
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they realize now, like, the Akkads realize, like, that was probably a mistake. But, so that's how
Too
that
late.
all yeah.
So, okay, where does H2O come in then?
H2O
where it forgets the...
H2O eliminates 4 through 6. So H2O takes place after 2.
She has
That's
a
right.
son, though, instead of a
Jamie Lee
daughter.
Curtis is
Right.
alive.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis is alive.
Oh my
and
gosh.
has a son, and so they basically eliminate 4, 5, and 6 from.
Whew, okay.
Yeah. So there we are.
All right. So let's do general thoughts. Ken, why don't you start us off?
Well, first of
mine.
all, it's it's a completely incoherent movie, which is definitely a function of having 50 script writers working on 1.5 movies. But as far as how I think Jamie, the little girl, manifests Michael Myers as both the aggressor and also his victims. I think if we're being I'm being really generous here. You can for me, the way I can read that as that's how the trauma of an abuse victim, and also the way she lashes out, they're just two sides of the same coin. And that's how it sort of spoke to me, and because so much of the Halloween movie franchise is about how the trauma afflicted upon kids revisits itself and re-perpetuates a cycle of abuse, and which is kind of what Michael Myers, the character, is a metaphor for. You can't kill it with guns or knives because
the abuse continues. It just passes on to the next one. Dave, or do you?
And I'm being really generous.
Yeah.
The movie is just an incoherent shit show, even by horror movie standards. But
I did start out shitting on it. However, I do like Danielle Harris. I thought she was a great actress in it. For being
Given
as
what
young,
she was asked to do.
Yeah, and for being as young as she was, 11. Yeah. I just watched Hocus Pocus for the second time earlier, and they had some acting in that I was just like, these are kid actors? No. No. And then I see this, and I'm like, well, no, kids can act. You just have to find the right kid that could do. I mean, because Danielle Harris does very good communicating panic when she's not using her voice. I thought that was great. She spelled things out in a frantic way, but yet still got it spelled out.
Like in sign language.
In sign language, or was doing like the sign language for it. Like, let me see you. And all these different things that was just like, okay, good actress. I liked the Tina character too. I thought she was good. Even though apparently she's the one that's most hated because she's annoying. But I thought she was fine. I thought she was actually going to survive. She honestly cared for this little girl too. You could see that she cared for her, especially for just being a friend of a friend. When she was like Tina and she was like, say my name again. It's just so, the joy in her face. I thought she was a good actress too. So those are my two favorites.
I think the laundry shoot scene, I think that was genuinely pretty well done. There's a lot of tension there where you didn't really know how things were going to go. Everything else is, pretty tropey, but I thought that
was a good scene. Yeah. What was the other part that it'll come back to me. Dave?
Okay, so for all the bashing we've done on this film, I think I actually like it better than the fourth one.
Really?
This movie, as crazy and wacky as it is, I think, like you were talking about on part 4, how it was forgettable, I think this one is more memorable and more fun because of a lot of the things that happen. You have the two goofy cops who always get their little their little music, their little goofy music bites whenever they're in like so like that like I love that. It cracks me up every single time. I like the Tina character as well, and it's almost like they had an opportunity in this film to make Tina the final girl, where she's like the energetic, fun, outgoing type who is kind of like the one you would expect to get killed off pretty early in these movies. Yeah. They could have had her live and be the final girl, and it would have been... I would have liked that, because I liked her character too. I wish she would... But she also sacrificed herself to save Jamie and Billy. She jumped in the way and stopped Michael Myers from getting them. So, proving that you can be wacky and fun, and I'm sure she seemed like the probably promiscuous type, maybe. But she's also good because she jumped in, she cares for this girl, she saved her. I like that. There were some pretty good kills in it. The guy with her boyfriend who gets the fork to his head, the Fonzie wannabe. The
Fonzie wannabe, the pitchfork guy, and the other girl, even though they didn't show it.
Yeah, who got the Reaper, the scythe, or whatever it is. Yeah. So that was all pretty good. Just some of the stuff with the Man in Black, and just some of the just nonsensical stuff is
Loomis.
Loomis. I love that he was so crazy in this movie. He just like burst into the room.
Oh, every time,
and he's just yelling, and he like even at the beginning when they're everybody comes in and is like making Jamie happy and he just comes in and just
get rid of the dog, get rid of all your friends. You're not allowed to see anybody. Go away.
Yeah. Do you realize what day it is? It's he was so insane in this movie, and I loved it.
Well, and this is the worst part, was he was a close talker. So he'd get really close to her face and talk to her, and it would always be super intense.
That's like at the very beginning when she was in the hospital, he just shows up. Don't do that. Don't cut her throat.
Where did it come from?
Yeah,
they're about to do surgery.
Yeah, like she has like nightmares and visions when she's connecting with Michael Myers, and at the beginning he's like waking up from his year-long coma again or whatever, and he's putting on his mask, and she's like mimicking putting on the mask as well, and then she starts having like a seizure or something, and they drag her down the stairs on the cart for some reason, and then and they're getting ready to do like a tracheotomy on her, and just Loomis barges in like, "What are you doing? Wait!
Don't cut her!
Don't cut her! She'll
She'll
recover."
be fine.
And then later he's like, "She was having a seizure. What are you doing?" And it's like, hold on, just like 5 minutes ago,
Yeah. Ugh.
So he was so insane in this movie, and I loved it. So like, for all the reasons, Halloween 4 is good yet forgettable. Halloween 5 is bad but not forgettable.
Bad but in a good way.
Exactly.
It's the kind of bad that I like.
Yeah.
Where I'm pissed off at the ending, but I am talking about it because it's funny how over the top Donald Pleasance is.
Mm-hmm.
Angela, were you bored by this movie?
No, I kind of liked it.
As she yawns.
No, I just didn't like how the Dr. Loomis used her as bait.
Yeah,
That
that was
uncool.
That was one part.
But that's
where
part of like the craziness of Dr. Loomis in this movie. Like I just
didn't like him being like that. I just don't.
He's willing to do whatever it takes to stop the evil.
Yeah,
but he wasn't stopping the evil.
He was trying to. I mean, at this point,
the
he
gun
wasn't.
didn't work when it did it the 6th time, so it makes things work this time.
He just thought getting him back into jail was the best, but that didn't work.
Either.
They put him back in jail with the mask on.
Yes, with the mask.
What the heck?
I mean, with Dr. Loomis, you can sort of read that as like how in his attempts to, rehabilitate, the character of Michael Myers, he himself got lost and, became, was got caught up in the cycle of abuse and
dark path.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, I think I'm giving the screenwriters far too much credit here. I think they thought that through.
Yeah. So Keith, what did you think?
Well, I mean, most of what I was going to say has already been said at this point, but
I
was going to say that.
I didn't like that one girl got killed either.
Which girl?
Rachel's.
Oh yeah, Rachel.
Yeah,
Rachel from Halloween Part 4. If you make it through one of these films and you're in the next one, you're probably not going to last.
Yeah, which
unfortunately.
They stab her in the shoulder, and that's it. They never show anything else.
Heart.
And you don't find out.
It was in the shoulder. We have
heart.
Shoulder.
Heart. Her heart is high.
Had traveled very high.
Her heart is high on her body. It's up near her shoulders.
And you don't find out to the very end that she's actually dead.
So. Yeah. Tina's heart was in her shoulder. Yeah, because I was like,
Tina's heart was in her shoulder as well.
Okay, Keith. Now it's your turn.
Sorry.
What I was going to say, before, was that I actually enjoyed this probably more than the 4th one. As Dave was saying, I feel like you guys were being much more, you and Kehn were being much more critical than they probably deserved, in the sense of it being like an incoherent mess. And it didn't feel that, you could see where there might have been some on-the-spot direction changes. Like they decided, no, we're going to head in this direction instead, but I didn't feel like that confused necessarily.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I have to defend myself now.
I think it was a miracle that it ended up being as watchable as it was from what you're describing.
Yeah.
But it's like the twists with the like you were saying, the final girl thing. I actually bought a lot of. I mean, they changed the way that the stakes were going from like the other movies. This actually felt like a winnable competition between the little girl,
Jamie.
Yeah, between Jamie and Michael Myers.
Yeah.
That link finally gave them something they could use to try to stay a step ahead of them.
Yeah.
And it actually felt like there were some stakes involved, and it wasn't like. Well, first of all, it was strange the way that Michael was encountering the various people, and being sort of thrown off balance by the way they were treating him, because they didn't know who he was. He was in like the boyfriend disguise.
Yeah.
So he was in a position where it didn't feel like he was just walking aimless or a single track through everything and just like killing everything he encountered.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more to it than that. So it actually felt like there was, again, like it's some stakes. Didn't have to be everything, but if you think that everybody's going to get killed no matter what, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
Or if you were to focus on a character like a Tina and go, wow, she's surviving longer than I would think, and then it looked like she was actually going to be able to be saved in many cases, and so I bought that she might have connected with the end.
Right. Yeah. Which I liked, and I like the way that she didn't go out like a normal.
Yeah.
Just.
I
whoever.
liked Tina's character a lot. I thought she was the shining star of this, besides Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did you think of the ending, Keith? That's the part that bothered me most was the ending.
Seemed like an obvious setup for the next movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I see now.
I think that it had run its course, and it's just sort of like oh my god, what's going to happen next? Setting up a trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember hearing, it was just they weren't sure what to do, and they were like, well, they'll just deal with it. Whoever takes this movie, if there is another one, whoever takes it will just have to come up with a way to
See, that doesn't sound
figure
like
out what we're going to do next. So it's the next person's problem to, basically explain what we've started here.
Well, I mean, that's something that I think that comes from some sort of inside knowledge of what they were dealing with at the time, and I'm sure you probably remember what happens in the next movie, which I do not.
Which I don't either.
So
Yeah.
I'm saying from my perspective, as someone who's just been watching these last two movies in a row, it felt like it didn't seem that unusual to me to leave it some like semi cliffhanger.
Right, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now we have to watch 6.
Paul Rudd is in 6.
Okay. What? What?
It's his first movie.
What?
Was it really his first movie?
Yeah, right. He got this right before he got Clueless.
So I think clearly we have to watch Halloween 6 in order to make the payoff of the Man in Black.
Is there a Man in Black in 6?
Do you want to know?
Yes, I want to know. I'm not going to wait till next year.
Why not?
Man in Black is back in 6. They try to explain all
They
this.
wrap it up.
Yeah.
I don't like the way you said that.
I mean,
he was like this.
I know.
Yeah.
it's
Too long of a pause before you
Yeah,
said that. Yeah.
and it's funny because there's 2 cuts. There's the
Oh,
theatrical
no.
cut, and then there's the. It's now out. It's in the collection. It's called the producer's cut, which didn't come out like legitimately until a couple of years ago, because it was kind of one of those like underground, like kind of I don't know. It was one of those like a VHS pass around, like it leaked.
So
and
did it
people got
have a lot
hold
of
it.
extra stuff, or was it just like made more coherent?
It's much. There's some big key differences in the producer's cut than the theatrical cut, and the producer's cut is a far better version of what actually hit the theaters.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Not that it's saying much because it's still not great, but it's...
Now, okay, so I want to hear your rate. Where would you put number 5 in your rankings of all the movies?
Oh, man. See, before I would have had it below 4, but for some reason now, just I find myself far more entertained with this movie than Part 4. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put it above Part 4.
Mm-hmm. I actually would rate it higher than I would rate 4 also. I mean, having just watched 4, I was very entertained by 5. While I am still upset at the ending, just the...
Did we explain the ending?
Yeah, you do it.
Okay, so basically they... Michael Myers and Loomis and Jamie Lloyd are all back at Michael Myers' house, and they have a showdown. Dr. Loomis uses Jamie as bait to bring him down, to get him out, where he had a net set up, like a big chain net set up above him. So once they lured him out to get him in this certain spot, he drops the net down on him, shoots him with tranquilizers, and beats him with a 2x4 until he, is unconscious, pretty much.
Unconscious, and then he close talks to him.
Yeah, he
falls on top of him and is like, "Are you there, Michael?"
Yeah, So
Are you there, Michael? It's like,
So
good
they-
Lord, get off of me.
So the cops show up, take him to jail. You know, they show him in a jail cell and
With his mask on.
With his mask on
Ugh.
still, and say, you know, we're gonna send him to the state prison where he'll stay until he's dead.
And Jamie says, he'll never die.
Yeah.
And then the man in black shows up, shoots up everybody in the police station, and uses dynamite or something to blow up the jail bars. And the police officer that was with Jamie says, "Stay here," and she immediately leaves. Goes
He's
inside
not
the
even
building.
like 5 seconds away
Yeah.
from when he says
so
that.
she immediately follows him into the police station, and I kind of like her walk through the police station. It's really eerie because you have all the smoke from the gunfire. You see just the dead bodies laying through the hallways, and she's walking really slow through it. And then she comes up to the jail cell where Michael Myers was, and you see the bars like on kind of little flames of fire on the bars. And I just love her reaction at the end. She's just like, no, and then that's where it ends.
Yeah, and I was like, better not be credits. And it's
Credits. But I love that whole like walk through the police station. I thought it was so eerie, and I thought it was kind of a good ending myself. But I mean, it just leaving it open for another movie to
I think in the moment,
deal with the man in black and where it goes from there.
Where was Loomis? Was he in the police station still, or did he leave when?
I mean, he was in there, but they
Didn't show him dead.
They didn't show him dead. He must have said, "All right, see, Mike, I'm out of here," and he walked out the back door.
Yeah.
Who knows? Because that they don't
Is he in
deal
the next
with that
movie?
in part 6. So you know how Loomis,
Escape.
what happened with him, like right there.
Is he in it?
He's in it, yeah.
and and
That was his last film because he died right after that.
Well, that's too bad.
we,
in real life
that's also
died.
sad.
we theorized during the movie that the Man in Black, because you see him with all you see is just a silhouette
Shoes.
figure with a shoes, a long black trench
Shoes like a
coat,
monk.
and a hat, and
He's got the silver tips on his shoes.
and we figured it was like the Undertaker during his
Yes, it
his
just take him a long
motorcycle,
time. Long.
and then true to form, like we were facetiously
At the
speculating
oh my God, you're
that
right.
he would keep walking, and it wouldn't show up until the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That's how long the Undertaker takes to
Hilarious.
walk.
That is hilarious. Like, he left at the bus station, took his damn sweet time, got all the way there. His druids lined the whole way.
So right
Chanting.
now,
Oh man, I really don't want to spoil something on Halloween 6.
but I mean, yes.
Oh man, I kind of want to.
Right, but with where we are
because
right
it
now,
fits in perfectly with what you're talking about right
okay,
now.
other than the line
Well,
of
luckily we'll
druids,
forget.
we don't have
Yes,
any.
just tell us.
No,
Yeah.
I mean-
No, there's
We
that.
come here.
No.
We can't conclude that he's not the Undertaker,
Nope, stop it. No music. This is not funny. At the time, I really didn't hear what Dave whispered to Marianne, but as I was going through the audio to edit it, I was actually able to hear what he whispered, and so, I mean, for the purpose of the bit that we're doing here in this segment, I'm going to cut out the faint whisper of what he says. But as far as I am personally concerned, this whole thing was pointless, because now I know.
Okay.
Nope.
He just
Nope.
told me something I will not tell the audience. I will figure out some way. If you want to hear what Dave told me, you message me. You can message me through our Facebook site, and I will tell you the whisper that made me cackle. Because if you know anything about The Undertaker in WWE history, and then you have seen 6, you can guess what we're talking about. If you don't know and want me to tell you, just message me, and that's Marianne.
You won't tell me I have to message Marianne.
Yeah, you have to message Marianne.
After we're gone, Dave can tell you. But
After they're gone, we'll watch Halloween 6.
Angela's like, ha 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 ha.
Good one.
Right, yeah.
Good one.
One thing I wanted to say earlier too, the close talking reminded me something about how just how good she was as an actor, Danielle Harris in this. I think she was also helped a lot by it seemed like every scene they just would not leave her the fuck alone. It was just like there's always somebody like with her face like
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
mouths right by her face, grabbing her feet and holding on to her. Just all
She was probably legitimately pissed and just like, get out of here, please.
Yes.
Leave me alone.
Hey,
Let me act in peace, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like those genuine reactions are just like, yeah.
Get off me.
And then he kept saying, "Are you gonna help? You gonna help me? You gonna help me? You gonna help me?
Oh my gosh.
You gonna help me? And we're you gonna help me?"
Dr. Loomis is so crazy in this movie. I love it.
Loomis was just
Dr. Loomis just like carries this series.
like a shot at,
Oh,
it'd be a
God.
dark room and you'd see a shadow and you'd think it's the body. But nope, it's Loomis coming to terrorize your dreams.
Yep.
If you even get that, it's more just usually like the off-screen kind of, just right from the side, like grab him by the shoulders from behind. It's like, I'm here to help you, and then the whole, it's like, what are you doing here? And
So, Ken, what would you rate this?
On a scale of
1 to 10.
How
entertained were you by it?
moderately entertained. One of the things with Dr. Loomis, there are like some people who like will theorize that it's Batman that's the cause of all the crimes in Gotham City because of the way he perpetuates a cycle of terror, and there's all these villains that rise up in reaction to what he's doing, and to me, I kind of get that same feeling with Dr. Loomis. He's just so doing all this shit that he's kind of indirectly perpetuating the cycle of Michael Myers.
He's keeping him alive all these years.
Yeah.
He's like, Michael Myers actually dies. He's like resuscitating him while no one's looking.
Yeah.
Don't you die! What?
I revived you 6 times!
Yeah.
she's just firing all 6 shots straight into the air.
Yeah.
Before, I hit him right in the heart 6 times. Swear to God.
Why are there 6 shots in the ceiling? 7 sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So, gore factor, Ken, what would you think?
It was pretty light on the gore, I thought.
Okay. Dave.
Oh, man. Entertainment value. I have to say, I am entertained by this movie quite a bit, so I'm going to go 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
It's goofy and ridiculous and corny, but I love it. And gore, it wasn't
as bad as 4.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, they didn't have any like big, like they didn't have like the neck jugular pulling
They had no
out type
tearing.
deal. I mean,
They had a lot of stabbing.
Yeah. You have the guy getting the fork thing through the head and the pitchfork through the body, but there wasn't really that much blood.
Yeah, the only blood was on the lady's titties.
Yeah,
You turn to the mic to say that.
Turn to the mic to say titties. I gotta say it like that too.
I mean, Rachel.
Well, that has to be the quote at the end now.
Okay.
So he does a lot of like stabbing, but there's no like blood.
Yeah.
Like when he does it, you don't see it until you see like the dead body.
The
You'll see the
aftermath,
blood
yeah.
on them, but you never see any like gushing or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not like a kung fu movie.
It's all kind of aftermath and no like like actual blood spurting everywhere type deal. So 4.
4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it really wasn't. They show a lot, but there's no really blood associated with it as it goes. So yeah, I say 4.
Angela?
Entertainment value was probably 8. I did enjoy it. It kept me intrigued the whole time. I just have a question about at the end when she's like laying in the coffin and he takes his mask off.
And he's
crying.
crying.
Yeah.
But then she tries to
I called him Michael
grab
Cryers.
Yeah, but then she tries to grab him and then he puts his mask back on and starts trying to stab her.
Because he didn't want to be seen like that.
Having
Yeah.
emotions?
Not
Yes.
crying. Allergic to jerks.
Yeah. No, I think that was. It did seem like he suddenly snapped back into You were making me feel vulnerable. I'm not like this. Don't try to
I'm
reach
a
me that
monster.
way. Yes.
Yeah,
Rawr.
Okay.
It's probably part of their connection.
I mean, I think
Because she was like, Uncle?
Yeah.
that's something that
Boogeyman?
kind of resonated, you know?
Yeah. And then for gore, I'd probably give it like a 4 because I didn't think it was that bad either. I mean, even when he slashed that girl with the
Side.
The side.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
they
he would
didn't-
show her. They didn't show
Yeah.
anything. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
like, I don't know exactly what he did to her. Did he cut
I
off
think
her
he
head
cut off
or-
her head, but we did not see that. So
Yeah.
Well, she
She
later
rolled
on,
down.
Tina, she rolls down, but you don't really
Don't see a head.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was just because she was,
Because then I
Covered
thought
by
maybe
the-
she was
the
cut in
hay
half.
or-
I just,
yeah,
know.
yeah, they just show blood
Yeah.
shoot,
And we-
you know.
we see that Michael Myers hates dogs, loves cats.
Yeah.
Because he did not kill any cats. He's
No.
he's like Stephen King. He kills all the dogs
Yeah.
and keeps all the cats.
Well, they were just kittens. I mean, he's not a monster.
True.
If had there been full-grown cats, maybe.
Oh.
I mean, we don't know what he did to the kittens afterwards. That shit might have been cut.
You know what's funny?
Dealt with him off screen.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Because, like, when...
Fostered them all.
Was it Becky the blonde? Or what was the name of
The blonde Rachel.
No, the second one.
Oh.
Yeah, the
Unknown
Becky, yeah, I'll just call her Becky.
Becky with a good hand.
Yeah, when she dies, like, you notice that, like, you don't really see her breast because it's, like, basically obscured by blood, and it's kind of funny that, like, in the eyes of, like, motion picture raiders, like, blood is fine, but if, like, you'd actually had a clean view of the breast, that would have, like, made it a lot more unpalatable in terms of a favorable rating.
Anywho, so Keith, what would you rate it?
I'd go probably as high as 5 for the gore, simply because of just that fork thing. We keep calling it whatever that gardening tool
like
thing was.
Into the
it's like a
head.
giant 3-pronged.
Yeah, that made me kind of go, just as it went in there.
Yeah, it was a good effect.
Entertainment, and surprised to say probably an 8. A lot of laughs. There was the line that you had to stop and back up for us, which
oh shit!
Oh my god!
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
The cops at the party. For some reason, I just don't understand why these. So 2 movies in a row, you had these kids pulling a prank where they dress up like Michael Myers and jump out at policemen with guns. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? How can you even? Why would you even think that would be safe to do?
Yeah,
and,
I think the line goes along the lines of.
Has a gun, and he's and he's not even a cop, and he's gonna shoot him.
Oh yeah,
you're lucky he
Loomis
didn't.
doesn't care. He's gonna shoot at anything. But the line the cops said were like somebody's gonna get hurt, and the one's like, thankfully we're bad cops.
So, I did enjoy this movie better than 4. I don't know what it was about 4. I was struggling for my attention throughout it, even though I enjoyed the movie. I think it's I don't know if it's me or if it's the forgettable nature of it that I've noted in the first part of this podcast. But this one, I don't think I've seen it before, or if I have seen it, it's only been parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked one. It was funny in a bad way also. So it was genuinely funny with some of the lines and the weird music. Donald Pleasance was hilarious. In an unintentional way, I think.
May I offer another theory?
Yeah.
So I felt like the 4th one was just a little bit more straightforward in a transitional sort of way to get here. And it felt like they felt like they were being serious when they brought up the ending of her somehow being like Michael Myers suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The whole tone of that movie was a lot more serious than this one. I mean, there was really, aside from Loomis hilarity, because anything he says is just funny.
And I like horror movies that are serious, so I don't know why this one for me. Go ahead.
I was going to say, but this one, it's not like they were throwing everything out of the window, but it was just like a lot of as I said, it's like it suddenly caught me off guard. Like, where the fuck are they going with this? Because the Tina character suddenly just emerges out of nowhere as being like.
You think it's going to be the sister saving her the whole time, but it's actually the Tina character that is running and skipping everywhere, being like this ray of light in this movie that I really enjoyed, only to have her die.
Yeah,
So.
that was. I wish they would have gone ahead and just let her.
Are there any alternate versions of this movie? Are there any extra cuts or something where they did anything? I mean, I'd be interested to see if they kept her alive.
I don't know if there's ever.
I mean,
I
think if anyone would know, it'd be Dave. So.
I haven't really investigated that. I know they had some strange character at the beginning of the movie that came across Michael Myers before he went into the old man's house, but they cut that character out.
Dr. Death. I read about it.
Yeah, so it was some like weird skinny guy. I don't know what their intent was with him, but he got.
I think he kept the bird alive too. So.
Oh yeah,
so that's a good thing.
I'm sure the director's cut has another 20 minutes of footage of the Man in Black walking.
Yeah. Gong. Gong.
You see him walking into stores and getting coffee, walking around just from the boot shop and back up to the hand with holding a cup, and then did the Man in Black and Michael Myers both have the same tattoo on their wrist or something?
They did, yes. Was that the thorn?
Thorn, yeah.
Yeah, that's the runic symbol.
And they explain that in part 6 as well.
I would imagine if they're going to do anything, why wouldn't they do that?
Oh, I just got it. Runes. It all ties back in.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that the first time that's even come up with him having a symbol of any sort on him?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Someone came in with a ballpoint pen. I've got an idea! Scribbles it on his arm real quick.
Yeah.
They're like, this is a rune, right? Right? This one? All right, what's this one on here? Alrighty, folks, this wraps up our Halloween movie marathon. This is our 3rd year doing it with Dave. Yay, this is also his 22nd year doing it, so even better. We'll have a picture of his brand new tattoo that he got, along with I don't think we'll have any new guests. We're all regulars here.
Yeah.
So check us out. Listen soon if you're interested in.
Keith's going through the ball.
If you have any theories on 4 or 5, let us know. If you want to hear what Dave whispered in my ear for 6, the spoiler, send me a message. Other than that, we'll see you next time and talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Yes.
No. Oh. Who's got the time?
Liar, Honor!
Today's